what happened in the region is so inspiring because it inspired other young people and other people in the neighborhood countries to take lessons from what happened like in Tunisia and Egypt, and now what is happening in Libya and Yemen and Bahrain, that things are not like things are not the same anymore, and as a person, as an individual, you have your own effect, and you can influence people. You cannot hide anymore and say this regime is not democratic, and I cannot say my opinion, I cannot express myself, I cannot demand um, my basic rights, because we have examples, and if I say no, I cannot do it, others would say like others would say um, youth in Egypt were able to do it, people in Tunisia were able to do it, so we can do it. I see social media tools as informative rather than a space for hearsay and um, delusional um, information or lies. There would be some people promoting um, the regime's point of view, for example. Hearsays like the hearsays that we were listening or reading on Facebook, like in Tunisia, like there are no schools anymore because students have been taken away, kidnapped when they go to school, and it's all were spreaded on Facebook. But then other people who are other young people who are monitoring those channels, monitoring those tools, told us all that no, this is not true and this is not happening in Tunisia. So disregarding how people would misuse social networks, social media tools, especially Facebook, though other people were able to understand those different aspects, and they were able to work um, on like one unified channel, that this is Khalid Said channel, for example, and this is Free Tunisia channel, and if I want to to read something um, true, if I want to read something that is really happening, I have to go to those channels. It's part of being organized. Facebook group that we started, it's about um, youth generated media. It's like each one of us of the group, each member of the group is living in a certain country of the Arab countries, and we wanted to have the Arab United Republic, and I live in Jordan, so my mission is to transfer and to post all news related to Jordan. So members in Algeria are responsible of covering the news and the media um, related to Algeria. So we would guarantee transparency. Actually, we didn't have civic education since we were children at schools. We don't know that there are too many rights that we as human beings should be granted, like social security, like medical insurance, like too many things. And although the type of what is happening, the type of like this reforms, movements are different in Jordan. Yani, what's happening in Jordan is different than what's happening in Egypt and Tunisia. But when people started talking and demanding of freedom, basic human rights, freedom of speech, and freedoms, and in particular freedom of speech, free the political prisoners, we started to dig around what is going on, and we we witnessed violations for our rights, and now we want to lead our way, and we want to lead those movements. We don't want to um, what we want is to reform, and that was all inspired by what is happening. I see the movements that are taking place in Jordan as rational in some of them, and since they are organized youth groups, and they have their own studies, and they did some researches, and they know what they want exactly, like the people demanding of the constitution of 52 900 1952, which limits the king's authority, and they are till now the most organized youth group. And then there comes the organization, the people who organize the demonstrations every Friday, and those people are organized, but what happened in the region made small groups of people in Jordan start demonstrating and having yani, whenever something happens, they go and they demonstrate. Like they want to change um, the head the headmistress, the headmaster or the headmistress of the school. The doctors have their own objections. The teachers, uh, the bus drivers, the university transportation bus drivers, the students themselves, and there have been coalitions between those. I don't know where they are heading to in terms of those small groups, but I think it's going to be so promising if they started to do a huge networking that would make them work on one direction. It's like they on one path, because they all have the same vision. They want reform, and they want people to implement what is written in the law. We need the rule of the law, but that is not happening here. So people start to demonstrate. So it's like organized in some, shattered, and so chaotic in some,
Like arbitrary.
arbitrary, and like arbitrary in some. And I think it's promising if there were more organization and more, because if they are organized, then they would continue, and they won't. And if they are organized, they would be more transparent. So the government would shush any one of them, or give, or any people, any person won't any compromise if he took a better position or a better salary, because this sometimes happens here, or like most of the time people in demonstrations take money in order to go home, and if they are more organized and there's like this structure, they would continue, and then they will get the result.